Yes, in the spirit of youth in politics, it is good for us to venture into those who are passionate about developing our country. So without further ado, because Arnold, now we already know you, can everybody else please introduce themselves?
Thank you so much. I'm not new in the house. I'm Benjamin Ndiema Kirui from the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. I'm the chairperson, Youth in Governance Initiative, Transfer County Chapter, and the president, TRUSA, famously known as Northwest Rift Students Association. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Asante sana.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Winfred Mwangi is my name. I'm a student at the University of Nairobi. I'm also the secretary at the Champions for SDGs, and I'm glad to be here.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Diana Njeri, and I'm a student at Multimedia University of Kenya. Yes, and I'm glad to be here.
Oh, asante sana.
Hi, my name is Kevin Strandiek. I'm actually a communications consultant. I play multiple sector roles in that I look at the possibility of really ensuring SDGs are implemented needs to cut across sectors, and I'm passionate about education, health, infrastructure, and actually clean water and sanitation. And it's a pleasure being around. Thank you.
All right.
Hi.
Hello.
My name is Isaac Kiego, and I am a social media strategist. I'm also a student at JKUAT current campus.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Leah Wayaki, a medical student, Kenya Medical Training College, current campus, passionate about good health and well-being. Thank you for having me.
Well, we're glad to have you. Anyway, so in the spirit of the Big Four agenda, which is the affordable housing, food security, universal health care, infrastructure development, we do have a big breakdown of the 17 SDGs, which are the Global Sustainable Development Goals, and we have for this particular country, which you can break down in the spirit of those four. So Heshimiwa from NYC, you're very passionate about number 2, zero hunger. Why?
Yes. Well, as an advocate of young people, and we are all aware that the bigger population of this country are young people. And when we talk about young people, we are talking about young parents and young fathers of this nation. And so my worry as a young person when I wake up in the morning is that be in a position to feed my family. And so if you wake up and you're clueless on where you're going next, where you're going to get your meal, that should worry you, and that should worry us as a nation. And that is why I would want to see Kenyan, especially the young population, being in a position to be able to provide for their family. And this providing for their family is merely to be able to put food on the table. And that is our concern as young people. And that is why I'm very passionate about this. At the SGD, we have committed ourselves as a nation and contributing to what we call the SDG. Ours was adopted in 2016. And when we adopted that, we also agree that this is a world concern and a concern for us. And we've also localized that as a priority for us. You see, we have 17 goals, but Kenya, in its own right, decided that this number 2 will also be part of our priority. And that is why I think we need to just do much more than just having it part of our priority and not doing enough to ensure that Kenyans and its citizens are able to put food on their table.
Okay, so how are we going to put food on the table? Can we talk about that then?
So I think it is very important that institutions in our country start practicing good governance and also accountability, because those two are the fundamental principles of strong institutions. And when institutions in our country are strong, we'll be able to achieve things like good health and well-being. Our facilities will be able to provide quality healthcare services to their populations. Young people will be able to access education, quality and affordable education. There will be gender balance in aspects of opportunities and things that young people can take part in, and there'll also be decent work and economic growth.
All right. Kevin?
This SDGs, actually, they're one of the most important goals we're having in our country, having been broken down into 4, famously as the Big 4 agenda. I wish to say this, as a country, you said you're tackling zero hunger. As a country, it's like Kenya is drowning. Like the case of recently, you're aware that the MPs, they are now digging down deep into our pockets, we the taxpayers. They want our money to pay their rents. And this is a group of people who are guzzling rivers of vodka every weekend, courtesy of our accounts. Yet the local mwananchi in town is suffering. Yet you expect that the whole country should be in a position to provide for themselves. We need to do something as advocates of the SDGs. We need to do something good to save our country.
It's okay.
Thank you for the question. So if we're discussing zero hunger, I think our focus as a country should divert to food security. How food secures Kenya? I think we are at a very alarming rate, considering the recent cases of people dying out of hunger. I think the setup, the system that is set up in feeding our nation is failing, because we are focused really on exports of non-food items, while our focus should actually be food. Like, we need to first feed our nation before feeding the next nation. Kenya, 15 years ago, we used to have maize, like it was a staple food. We had maize all over. But now it's alarming that we're actually importing maize from Uganda. So I think we need to implement systems that will support the farmer to actually provide to the community itself, so that at least every other Kenyan is food secure every other day.
Fantastic. Thank you. Kevin, you really had something to say.
Probably on the zero hunger perspective, I look at it not from the negative trends that have happened, but probably what we need to do to just champion zero hunger. And my perspective is, you see, right now there's the issue of we're not sure when the rains take place. There is so much change towards climate change. And my proposition will be, why can we not put so much focus on value chain? Because it's been raining right now, yes? And it's been raining, so there's going to be like excessive production of skuma wiki, for example. And my really desire from our policy advocacy bit, and I'll kind of package this with TVET, the technical vocational and education training, in that can we just really push the essence of how can we enhance value chains in our croppings, in that when we're producing excess, how can we convert this excess to last for a period of 6 months, in that cows take vegetables. So could there be a possibility of processing that excess vegetables into powder, so that probably when we don't have rains, we'll kind of have powder which cows or rather our livestock are going to take. So my perspective on zero hunger as we are right now is from a point of how can we escalate our infrastructure to champion the bit of value chain within our production bit. And probably that's what I wanted to emphasize when it comes to the zero hunger perspective. Probably, maybe if someone can start.
Okay, thank you. To add on what my fellow colleague has said, okay, I think as a nation, to tackle the issue of zero hunger, we need to do something we call diversification. So, as he has said, let's take, for example, there are two things we have here. There is a cow which can consume a vegetable, right? So we need to diversify in a certain way that we ensure people not only concentrate on a specific food in certain regions. Yeah, thank you.
I think I'll add on what he has said also. Mine goes to climate action. What are we doing about our climate changes? Right now we have
SDG number 13. Can you say which one it is?
Right now we are having the rains, and I feel like we are not prepared for the floods. We'll have so much water going to waste. Yet, some few months to come, we'll be borrowing food aid from countries abroad. We need to curb the climate change. We need to curb the SDG number 13, so that we can be sure that SDG number 2 will be a success.
Fantastic. Jennifer, do you have anything to say towards this? Because I know you're waiting for SDG number. Where is it? Number 16. Yeah. All right.
Okay, so first, yes, a brief background on SDGs. So SDGs, as Arnold had stated, picked up from the MDGs, which were the Millennium Development Goals. Yes. And we failed to achieve a majority of them, and that's one thing as a global community we failed to actually state and acknowledge that we failed to achieve our MDGs before we even moved to the SDGs. Then we ended up adopting a whole set of 17 goals, and they're also broken down to further targets. So if you read in depth, you'll see that there are further targets. Each goal has from 6 all the way to 19. 19 is goal number 17, which is
partnerships.
Yes, partnerships, which has 19 targets. Each target also have indicators to indicate how each country is performing in terms of achievement. So this development blueprint really harmonizes development strategies for countries all over the world. Now, as you have stated, I'm kind of a peace strong institutions kind of person because of my background. Now, this peace, justice, and strong institutions is a ring, sort of a golden ring that also harmonizes all the other 16 goals that are involved. Because without strong institutions, you cannot deal with climate change. Without strong institutions, you cannot deal with goal number 10, which are inequalities that are, are seen within various classes in developing countries. So that aspect of peace, justice, and strong institutions needs to be harnessed. Now, bringing that back home, there's need to implement the Constitution. Now, our 2010 Constitution brought forth hope for Kenyans that this country can be transformed, that there can be hope for good governance for once. And the Constitution also introduced various institutions that were not there in the 1969 Constitution. So we have checker mechanisms, we have the rule of law, we have what I call which could be the fourth arm of the fourth arm of government. We have the constitutional commissions, which are listed in chapter 15. There's so much hope in that constitution that which Kenyans said yes to. And if we implement that, I believe we can have strong institutions. And regardless of the leadership at the top, then we'll be able to actually ensure that the spirit of the constitution is implemented. And if we implement that, all of these goals, from goal 1 to 17, all of them are enumerated in our constitution in one way or another. Social economic rights, Article 43, they cover inequalities. When we talk about climate change, there's a whole chapter about climate change. So there's so much. So I believe that our constitution is harmonized within the 17 goals, and also, of course, we have different also development blueprints from the Vision 2030 to what you've just mentioned, the Big Four agenda. And the government also went ahead to actually institutionalize a committee to check the implementation of the goals in 2016. So there's so much being done, but the realization of these goals can only be seen when you implement the Constitution.
So for you, number 16 is the key to number 1 to 17.
It is key. It is key.
Allow me to add something.
Okay.
I also think that in addition to what my colleague has just said, partnerships are very important if we are to achieve these goals. Because if one person is working on good health and well-being, another person is working on climate action, and you're also working on strong institutions, we need to work together as a team so that our outcomes are able to contribute to a common pool of sustainable development. Myself, I have been working on good health, quality education, gender equality, and partnerships for a long time, and specifically for adolescents and young people. And you realize that in our policy environment, we have policies that exist. However, the problem is implementation, whether they are actually implemented on the ground. For example, for policies that concern adolescents and young people, we have the Adolescent Sexual Reproductive Health Policy of 2015 and the National Guidelines for Provision of Youth-Friendly Services in Health Facilities, and also the Constitution of Kenya 2010. So there are policies, but however the implementation on the ground is really wanting, and we would like to urge policymakers and people in government so that we can unite and work together. Because when we work together...
Wait, can we wait for the chairman to respond to that first?
Okay.
When it comes to the implementation, where are we going wrong?
I think we must also appreciate that we cannot achieve all this in a day. It is a process. And achieving all that we want may take time. But the most important thing is that are we on the right track to be able to implement this or to have policy? And the National Youth Council has been working on a youth policy. You know, this country has not been able to have a youth policy for quite some time. And that is why we've been reviewing the National Youth Council policy. There have also been getting views from the young people all over the country from last year. And that will be in place very soon. It's only waiting some assent. So that is a step towards having a policy. But we also realize that there are policies that are beyond National Youth Council. What the National Youth Council can do is also to support or air the voice of young people on particular policy that affect young people. And that is the role of the National Youth Council. Just to inform or be able to do a research and say that this policy would affect young people in this particular way. And so this is our opinion how this policy need to be handled.
Just to appreciate what he just said, I participated in the review of the National Youth Policy, giving input towards what we would like to be included in the new one. And I think we are making progress towards the right direction. And I'd also like to urge young people at home, take the initiative of participating in activities that will contribute to shaping our future. For example, when we hear calls to participate in the CIDPs and to the review of policies, let's stand up and give our views so that we make sure that our voices are heard. And then for our leaders and the people who are supposed to implement policies, we urge them all to make sure that they are fully implemented so that they benefit the people as stated in the policies.
Okay, before we people want to comment over this. Please, can we make it real quick so that we can talk about something really important, which is SDG number 3. All right.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to address the point that the institutions need to implement it. I'd like to say, I think I as a Kenyan, I as a citizen, I need to take the first step. For example, if we're dealing with climate change, SDG 13, what am I doing in my own compound? What am I doing in my own immediate community? I mean, like right now we have rains. How many trees are you planting? How many trees are you actually growing, not only planting? What are you doing to teach your next generation on the culture of actually preserving the climate? What are you doing to pass this information to your next generation? So I think it starts with I as the individual, and then support the government, because we are the people.
Okay.
So we need to support the government, the institutions in place for us to actually move.
All right. Yes. Jennifer, you had something to say?
Yeah, just to add on what she said, I believe that SDGs are not abstract. They're not these things that are up there in the sky that we need to reach out to. SDGs are contributed to by the activities we do each and every day. Yes. And there's been a movement across the globe that identifies or seeks to sensitize young people that even if you're doing your small business, you're contributing to SDG number 10. Even when you're doing your small social entrepreneurship project, you're contributing to SDG number 16. So they're not abstract. They're not this beautiful, fancy UN goals. There are things that we actually contribute to every day. We're already doing it. We just need to be aware. What are the targets? How can I improve on them? You know, and it's important. Let's know the statistics. Let's know that, for example, 20% or 1 in every 10 people, for example, live below, is it $1 a day? You know, so realizing that, actually knowing what you're working towards is what we need to do, and it will also help us like emphasize and, you know, add an oomph to what we're doing.
I like that. Add an oomph to what we're doing. We do it every day, and I'm hearing that's what you're saying. What are you doing in your own family, in your own compound? And that's it. And that's how we'll be able to change even what we are facing when it comes to the climate. So before we, because I don't want us to dwell there, I really want us to talk about good health and well-being, which is SDG number 3. You're very passionate about that. Can we please hear from you?
I'm quite passionate about good health and well-being because I believe that mental health is a key factor in the overall well-being of an individual. it all starts in your brain. Yeah, I'm a nutritionist. I believe in good health. I believe in eating right. I believe in exercise. But as long as my mind is not where it's not a check, then I'm not healthy. And I feel like it's a message that we need to take it out there. We need to create awareness. Depression is real. It's happening, especially amongst our young people. And we live in a society where depression is seen as a sign of weakness. And depression is such a silent, I like to call it a silent killer, because it's so easy to say, Hilda, you've broken your arm, because I can see it. But it's so hard to tell someone, I feel empty, I feel confused, I don't know what is going on. Someone will just tell you, know what, you need to snap out of it. You need to stop being a big baby, and you need to compose yourself. And it's happening because, one, unemployment. Youths are frustrated. We are out here, we've graduated with good grades, but then you're working with your CVs every day. We are not getting employment. So we need to, as much as we are creating awareness, we are talking about mental health. We need to come up with the right intervention to make sure that we completely curb this illness called depression, especially amongst our youths. Let's have 0 cases of suicide. You know, let's talk about it. All I'm asking for the youth, let's just talk about it. It's okay to not be okay.
It's okay to not be okay. All right. Kevin?
Wow. On I think as in just the way she's expressed it is also so catchy. This is what probably I'll want to say about mental health in regards to young people. You know, I look back probably like 5 years on myself. 5 years ago, where was I? What was I doing? What drove me? Kind of what used to push me? What used to encourage me? Did I suffer mental health? I'm not really sure. Actually, that's a question I always ask myself on each and every day, because probably maybe I suffered mental health, but the question I ask myself is, how did I overcome it? Because you know, we all have problems, yes, but how do we handle our problems? What encourages us to keep on pursuing? And that's probably when I link it up to the quality of education. One of the key things I will really probably want to say in line with mental health is, are you self-aware about yourself? You know, I mean, that self-awareness of you as a that self-awareness of you as a person in terms of whom you are is actually really critical to young people, because we're always going to face challenges. But when you face this particular challenge, it doesn't mean that you have to kill yourself. It doesn't mean that you have to think suicidal thoughts. We're here, we're discussing issues. I believe all of us probably here have kind of had some bits of issues that have affected us. But the key thing probably I would wish to hear also from each and every person within the room is, how did we overcome? Because yes, it's a different thing talking about mental health, but for me, maybe on how I've overcome my challenges, which I can testify, is that particular belief of there is hope in tomorrow. So if you can't build hope into yourself, then I think you can't overcome mental health. That's basically what I can say. Yes?
I would like to pick on something you've mentioned when it comes to our health and well-being. The quality of education that we are receiving is also not really helping us when it comes to how we are dealing with our issues. So can I hear someone comment on the quality of education that we have real quick, because we're kind of running out of time, so we need to be really quick with our comments. Oh, Chairman, you also want to say something?
Maybe I can comment on something also. There's an aspect of good health and well-being, which is called sexual health for young people.
Now, Arnold, you have taken us to sexual health when you were talking about...
I'm briefly highlighting on that.
Okay.
Because it's very important that young people are able to receive also complete physical, emotional, and mental well-being, because that's an aspect of good health. We've seen rates of teenage pregnancies rise in the country, and I feel like it is very important that we come together as religious leaders, the ministries of education, Ministry of Health, young people, teachers, parents, so that we deliberate, we find a way of making sure that young people access quality reproductive health.
Okay, please, Chairman, can we hear what you have to say about the education?
Well, I want to believe that we have good, if not the best, education policy or system within the country.
Oh, wow.
Or within the region.
You think so?
I think we have a good system. It's only that we valued too much education than looking at how much do we invest in ourselves. You see, education is not just going to school, but we're also looking at how much that the system that you have contribute to the well-being. If you're going to do engineering, how much are you told about the other life issues than just having the engineering course, or you doing the units that touch on engineering? And so I think we just need to include some of the real life, because you also look at today in young people are sharing a lot on social media that is not supposed to be shared out. I'm not saying that there's a limit of what you can share, but you see, we have young people who are very fragile. They are going through a lot that they would want to share everything. So I just want to believe that there are some component that we also need to include. Component of life skill. Life skill is not supposed to just be to be taught in primary level, and then we feel that youth at the university level are not supposed to be taught life skills. They're also supposed to be beneficiary of life skill. But let me also say that when we talk about sustainable development goal, the concept here is sustainability. And so how do we sustain the goal is the issue as we talk about all this. That is the reason why I say let us look at the symptom. Why are young people committing suicide? Why are young people going through mental health or mental issues? Probably they are not able to get something to do after attending university for all 5 years, 6 years. They're just at home. Probably they are not able to feed their families after having some babies. When you have a baby, the responsibility is that you feel you must provide. And so when you are compelled with such issues, some of us will go through what we call the problem of mental health. And let us then look at why are young people going through such problem. And then when we are able to treat that, we are good to go.
All right, all right. Now we can hear some response. There's a lady at the back who really wanted to say something. Please, can we give her an opportunity?
I wanted to say that everything here comes back to accountability. And accountability is not just about funds, being accountable about funds. When you talk about SDG and mental health and zero hunger, are you accountable for yourself as a person? Do you know that? Are you accountable for yourself as mentally as a person? Because if you say that you want to wake up today and make sure that your mental health is fine, then you have to know what you need to do. You know, you have to know how you overcome things. So I think all of these things, the 17 of them, go back to accountability. Yeah,
on an individual basis.
Yeah, on an individual basis.
All right, Jennifer, I don't want you to leave without talking about something, which is the when it comes to institutions. Here in Kenya, we've had the issue of the Huduma number, and I know people are very excited about that. And recently, the other day, we had a rumor that it was hacked and what. And then we have, okay, fine, we're developing new technology and what have you. But how safe is our data, you know? Yes.
Okay, the issue of Huduma number, I'll first start by a disclaimer. I think the CS Matiang'i gave a report and stated that the leak that we had, that there was a UON student, one of our comrades, that had leaked, that had hacked the system, is untrue. I will stand by that because I'm not privy to the hacking and whatnot. However, as it stands, we don't have a data protection law. To be honest, from a legal perspective, we don't have a data protection law. All we have is the Constitution, and we have a data protection policy. The Constitution provides for the right to privacy. It provides for the right to privacy, and then there's a data protection policy that now speaks to the bill that has been presented. So there's a draft bill that talks about data protection. That if a private institution or a government institution has access to your data, there are rights that you have. You know, for that data not to be leaked or transferred to third parties. So until that particular bill is passed and it's assented to and becomes an act, then some of the things that are in that bill, we can't enjoy them yet. However, the case of Huduma number, I'm made to understand that it is not blockchain based, but it is actually a safe system that the government has developed to harmonize and to actually bring together all these multifaceted and fragmented government services we usually have. So it's a one-stop shop. In fact, they are calling it the one source truth of citizenship. That if you have that number, you're able to access NHIF, you're able to access all other government services. Now, I might have my reservations on that because I believe maybe there are other things we would have done to actually solve some of the biggest issues we have, maybe corruption, you know, or revenue allocation, electoral reform, you know, the things that we could have done to do that. But I think one step at a time. So I'm told that so far we have 12.5 million Kenyans who have already registered. It's a good front. It means Kenyans are usually very supportive. When we banned plastic bags, you know, we didn't even have complaints. I mean, it took a short time for Kenyans to transition. Kenyans are goodwill. I don't know whether our leaders see that they introduce.
Do we have goodwill?
Kenyans are goodwill. We introduced a plastic ban and people complied. You know, they've introduced NIMS and Huduma number and people are registering. We have 12.5 million people who've registered. You know, I mean, if that goodwill can be rewarded with actual good governance, I think I would be happy. You know, if we can be rewarded, I mean, people are registering, people are believing that this can be a good platform for actually accessing government services. You know, then I mean, these are the things that pain me. You know, and I wish our leaders would see this, see that every time they come up with something good, Kenyans respond very fast. Yeah.
All right. So I'd like to hear. Okay.
Can I just say something?
All right.
Well, personally, I'm not very enthusiastic about the Huduma number.
Okay.
My reasons are that I don't think it was much of priority. We are just going to a census in the month of August, that we will still spend a lot of money. You know, Huduma number alone, the government budgeted for about 6 billion to just do this. And so we're spending this, and then we are going to spend probably another 6 billion to just do a census, which to me are one and the same thing to be able to do. And so sometimes our priorities are not right. And that is my reservation. Although there have been some issues that Huduma number are not protected, have been hacked, and then we also find that those who are providing the services were also discontinued, so I don't know what happened to the data now. You also remember the company. What was the name of the company? MB Morpho.
Yes.
So the parliament was saying that they've terminated the contract, but the exercise is still going on. So you might not even understand what is going on exactly, because if I'm I'm giving you the data and my services are stopped, and something is still going on, you don't even know what is going on. I'm only faulting them on priority. For me, it's not a priority. Yeah.
I'd like to differ with my colleague because the national census takes more data than that personal information system is supposed to be an anchor to getting government services. Now the national census process gets way more information than just personal data, from the property that you own. There's so much that goes into the process that's done by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. So while our priorities as a country might be wrong, I believe that it's a good start. For once, let's sell hope, because we come on air every day and complain how there are bad things happening, how whatnot. But for once, let's sell hope.
Let's sell hope.
Yeah.
Okay, Chairman, you've heard.
That is exactly where we go wrong.
All right.
Because if we cannot say when something is not right, because we just want to sell hope. But let me also say, if I was coming to collect our information.
No. We are not going to start a whole debate here. Kevin.
All right then. Thank you.
Selling hope, yes, perfect. We need to sell hope. I'm always concerned when we come on air and we don't localize our content. When I talk about localizing our content, we're talking Huduma number, we're talking census. But in my mind, even to achieve these particular 17 goals that we talk about, SDGs, I always look at the person within the rural area setups. Are we talking 6 billion in terms of implementation for the Uduma number, the 6 billion in terms of sensors? And there's one thing that I'm a believer of, and that is how best can we accelerate technology to rural areas as a driver to development.
Okay.
In that you see, we're talking no poverty, we're talking no zero to hunger, we're talking good health and all. And a big percentage of our Kenyan population resides on rural area setups. And one of the only things they lack is information. And a basic way of even accelerating information for them to be aware about justice systems, on how Kenya operates, is by, just an example always says, how best can we set up tech hub centers within the rural area setups? Because as I end, I know yes, time is up, and I always give this basic example. A mechanic in Nairobi who has accessed a laptop will come to diagnose a car, will come to diagnose someone's car using a laptop, right? A mechanic in the rural area setup, for example, probably in Imbo, where I stay up in, will come to diagnose a car using a spanner. And the only thing that lacks across the two of them is not even just education, but just as in that basic access to probably digital skill, or rather to just that tech hub center that will make him access information, the same information that this particular person is accessing within Nairobi. And that to me, probably, I believe is a key driver to just ensure SDGs as localize it.
Localize it.
In the most
Spread
simplest,
the information.
Yes,
that is exactly why I wanted Jennifer here to tell us about Uduma number, because there are many people and there are many young people who also don't really know exactly how it works, me included. So it was good for us to know like what's happening. But anyway, you guys, it's about time we wind up. Thank you guys so much for making time to be here today. I hope next week I'll still have some of you here with me. Asante Sana, National Youth Council. Thank you so much, Mr. Roy Sasaki as well, the CEO of the National Youth Council. Thank you so much for your support. And yes, this has been another segment of Youth and Politics. My name is Hilda Wadidi. Jennifer, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Arnold. Thank you, everybody. All right, so please don't go away. You're watching Y in the Morning. Tukutane next week. Peace.